What keeps you awake at night? Not the noise outside, but the noise within. The quiet storm of thoughts that rise when the world has gone still. What if I fail? What if I lose someone I love? What if tomorrow doesn't go as planned? These questions echo in the dark, and though no one else can hear them, they weigh on the heart. We call it worry, anxiety, or overthinking, but at its core, it's fear. Not just fear of pain or failure, but of change. The subtle awareness that nothing in our lives stays the same. Messages left unread, people drifting apart, plans suddenly changing. All remind us how fragile everything is. It isn't weakness that makes us anxious, it's love. We fear losing what we deeply care about. From the moment we're born, we're told that life moves on, that everything is temporary. Yet knowing this doesn't mean we've accepted it. There's a quiet gap between understanding and acceptance, between the mind's logic and the heart's longing. We understand impermanence, but we still resist it. That resistance is where much of our suffering begins. Our ancestors needed fear to survive. Their alertness kept them safe from danger. But that same instinct now reacts to everyday uncertainties, emails, silence, rejection, as if they were threats. The body tenses, the heart races, the mind spirals. We try to plan, to control, to predict, yet the more control we chase, the more peace slips away, because life, by its nature, is uncertain. To live peacefully is not to eliminate uncertainty, but to live alongside it, to stop treating change as an enemy and begin seeing it as part of the natural rhythm of life. Mindfulness, as taught in Buddhism and other wisdom traditions, begins right here, not by escaping reality, but by softening our grip on it. The Buddha taught that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We suffer twice, once when life changes, and again when we refuse to let it. Freedom begins not in holding tighter, but in releasing gently. Embracing change, the peace found in life's flow. Change is not something that occasionally visits our lives. It's the quiet rhythm that guides every moment. In the teachings of the Buddha, this truth is called impermanence, or anicca. It means that everything we can see, touch, or feel is always in motion. Nothing stands still, not even for a second. Our bodies grow and age, seasons shift, thoughts come and go like clouds drifting through the sky. Every heartbeat is a reminder that life is a series of moments passing through us. The Buddha described this simple but profound reality. All things that arise will also pass away. With that understanding, he revealed a key to inner peace. The world is constantly changing, and our suffering doesn't come from that change. It comes from resisting it. Modern science agrees everything in the universe is in motion. Cells are replaced, stars are born and dissolve, and energy transforms endlessly. Yet despite knowing this, we still struggle when life moves in directions we didn't plan. We feel fear when something ends, or sadness when what we love fades away. Why? Because deep down, we hope that things we cherish will stay just as they are. This resistance is what Buddhism calls attachment, or upadana. It's the subtle craving that whispers, "Let this stay. Let this be mine." But no matter how tightly we hold, life keeps flowing forward. A friendship changes, a job ends, a loved one leaves, a dream evolves. The more we cling, the more pain we feel when change arrives. It's not that life is cruel, it's that we are fighting its natural rhythm. The Buddha's insight was not to condemn desire or emotion, but to help us see clearly. When we attach our happiness to things that must eventually change, we build our peace on shifting ground, and when the ground moves, we fall. This is the essence of dukkha, often translated as suffering. It doesn't mean that life is all pain, it means that everything is uncertain, even the happiest moments are fragile. A beautiful sunset disappears into night. A joyful day turns quietly into memory. When we try to freeze what is meant to move, joy turns into sorrow. But when we open our hands and allow life to change, we find a deeper peace, the peace that doesn't depend on conditions. There's another layer to this truth. We often believe there is a fixed self inside us, a permanent identity we must defend or perfect. But according to the Buddha's teaching of not-self, or anatta, this too is an illusion. The I we protect is actually a stream of experiences, constantly changing, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and memories weaving together moment by moment. Neuroscience echoes this now. The brain rewires itself throughout life. We are never the same person twice. This realization doesn't take away who we are, it frees us. When we stop clinging to a rigid image of self, we become lighter, more compassionate, more alive. We start to see that we too are part of the great movement of nature. Still, knowing this truth is not enough. We may understand impermanence with the mind, but when loss comes close, the heart tightens. That's why the Buddha didn't just speak of truth. He offered a path, a way to live with clarity, kindness, and balance. Through mindfulness, we learn to watch change unfold without fear. Through meditation, we train the mind to rest in awareness rather than reaction. Through compassion, we soften the edges of life's transitions. This is the practice of letting go, not in rejection of the world, but in harmony with it. To live with awareness of impermanence is not to give up on life, it's to meet life fully. When we accept that everything changes, every moment becomes precious. Every conversation, every smile, every breath is seen as a gift that cannot be repeated. In this understanding, we discover a peaceful truth. Nothing is truly lost. Every ending opens space for something new to arise. The falling leaf nourishes the soil. The closing of one chapter makes room for another. Life is not a static story, it's a river, and peace is found not on the shore, but in the flow. When we stop demanding that life stay still, we begin to move with it, gracefully, gently, awake. That is the heart of impermanence. That is the doorway to freedom. The art of letting go and finding peace. Letting go is one of the simplest ideas to understand and one of the hardest to live. In the teachings of the Buddha, letting go doesn't mean giving up or turning away from life. It means loosening the grip we keep on things we cannot control. It's not indifference, it's inner freedom. Many people misunderstand this. They think letting go means caring less. But it's not about caring less. It's about caring wisely. It's the gentle art of being fully present without being trapped by fear or expectation. When Buddhism speaks of release, it points not to withdrawal, but to a softer way of being, a way of meeting life as it is, rather than how we wish it would be. Imagine you're unwell. Acceptance doesn't mean you ignore the illness or stop seeking treatment. It means you take the medicine, rest your body, and stop adding the second layer of pain, the mental story that says, "Why is this happening to me?" The Buddha often compared this to being struck by two arrows. The first arrow is life itself, pain, change, uncertainty. The second arrow is our reaction, the thoughts and judgments we pile on top of what's already here. Letting go means removing that second arrow. The Buddha once said that holding on to anger or fear is like grasping a burning coal. The longer we hold, the more we suffer. When we let go, we drop the coal. The fire may still exist, but it no longer burns our hands. Letting go is not weakness. It's courage. The courage to trust the unfolding of things, to breathe amid uncertainty. When we whisper to ourselves, "This too shall pass," we shift from panic to presence. Acceptance clears the fog so we can see what truly matters. That's where mindfulness begins. Worry lives in the future, in the what-ifs and what-thens. Mindfulness brings us home to the only place life actually happens, this moment. The Buddha placed sati, mindfulness, at the heart of the Eightfold Path because it anchors the mind. When we're mindful, we notice our breath, the ground beneath our feet, the sound of the wind. Even simple acts, eating, walking, breathing, become gateways to peace when we pay attention to them fully. When a thought arises, "What if I fail tomorrow?" Mindfulness helps us recognize it for what it is, just a thought, a passing cloud in the wide sky of awareness. Not a prophecy, not a threat, just movement in the mind. Modern neuroscience now confirms what ancient practice revealed long ago. Mindfulness calms the brain's fear centers, reduces anxiety, and helps us step out of the loops of rumination. It gives us space between stimulus and response, the space where peace lives. But mindfulness alone is the beginning. To truly release worry, we need wisdom, panya, the clear seeing that reveals what's real and what's imagined. Wisdom asks quiet but powerful questions. Is this worth losing my peace over? Will worrying change anything? Most of the time, the answer is no. As the great master Shantideva taught, if a problem can be solved, there is no need to worry. If it cannot, worry is of no use. Wisdom doesn't ignore reality. It clarifies it. It brings us back to what we can actually influence. Our response, our kindness, our choices in this moment. And as wisdom deepens, compassion naturally arises. Worry often traps us inside the circle of me, my fear, my problem, my uncertainty. But when we lift our eyes and see that every being carries some form of uncertainty, something softens. Helping others lightens our own load. Compassion, metta, opens the heart. It reminds us that we are not alone. The Buddha encouraged loving kindness not as a moral duty, but as a medicine for the mind. When we wish peace for others, we taste it ourselves. When we pray for others to be free from fear, our own fear begins to dissolve. So what does letting go look like in daily life? It's not dramatic, it's quiet and humble. It looks like holding a bird gently, not too tight, not too loose. You care for your work, but you don't build your identity on its success. You love deeply, but you accept that love too will evolve. You plan wisely, but you stay open to change. When worry rises, as it always will, you pause, breathe, and remember. This moment is passing too. Then ask, what can I do right now that's kind, that's helpful? Sometimes the answer is to take action. Sometimes it's to rest. Sometimes it's simply to smile at your own human heart. Every small moment of letting go is a moment of awakening. Even seasoned monks practice this daily. The goal is not to never worry. It's to stop letting worry control the mind. The Buddha said, "There is no fear for one whose mind is not filled with desire." When we cling less, we fear less, and in the space left behind, peace quietly enters. Letting go doesn't mean we float away from life. It means we flow with it. It's the art of meeting each moment with open hands and a steady heart. When we let go, we don't lose anything real. We simply stop holding on to what was never ours to keep. And in that release, gentle, patient, awake, we discover what has been here all along: clarity, freedom, and peace. We often long for things to stay the same. The people we love, the moments that make us happy, the places that bring us comfort. But life, in its quiet honesty, keeps reminding us that everything changes. Seasons turn, faces age, feelings shift. Nothing stands still. To many, this can sound unsettling. If everything passes, what's the point? But in truth, it's the opposite. Because everything passes, everything becomes precious. If moments lasted forever, we'd stop noticing them. It's their fragility that invites us to truly see, to be awake, to care deeply, to live gently. A sunset wouldn't move us if it stayed in the sky. Its beauty lies in its fading light, in the briefness of color before darkness. The same goes for our lives. Impermanence isn't life's flaw, it's its finest feature. It's what makes every second a chance to be present. Not to cling, but to appreciate. The Buddha's final words were a simple truth. All conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with awareness. This was not a message of despair, but of freedom. When we stop demanding permanence from what is naturally changing, we stop fighting reality. And in that acceptance, peace begins to grow. Impermanence doesn't make life meaningless, it gives life meaning. A conversation matters because it may never happen again. A quiet meal shared with someone you love carries weight because it's fleeting. Every goodbye, every sunrise, every laughter-filled night, all are reminders that life is not to be stored, but experienced. Even the ancient Stoics understood this. Remember that you will die, they said, not to make us fearful, but to make us real, to remind us that each day is borrowed and that awareness of death is what teaches us to live. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Change is not loss, it is the nature of the universe." When we stop resisting change, life begins to flow again. But how do we live peacefully in a world that never stops shifting? The answer is not to hold on tighter, but to open our hands. To trust that what comes will also go, and what goes may one day return in a new form. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about learning to move with it, the way a river flows around stones. Imagine the ocean. Waves rise and fall endlessly. If you tried to stop them, you'd exhaust yourself. But if you learn to move with them, to float, to trust their rhythm, you find ease. This is the art of living with change, not control, but harmony. Real strength doesn't come from rigidity, it comes from flexibility. The bamboo bends with the wind and stands again when the storm passes. When we stop breaking every time life shifts, we find resilience, a quiet, steady confidence that we can meet whatever comes. And in that steadiness, something beautiful happens. The mind softens. Worry loosens its grip. Space opens. And in that open space, compassion appears. Presence deepens. We begin to see others more clearly, not as obstacles or roles, but as fellow travelers through this temporary, mysterious existence. Everyone we meet carries their own stories of loss, hope, and change. When we remember that, our hearts open, we speak kinder words, we forgive faster, we love more honestly. We stop chasing perfection and start choosing what truly matters: sincerity, patience, kindness, and growth. Many teachers suggest beginning the day with a single reflection: I am alive today. This day is a gift. When we remember that time is not infinite, our priorities shift. We stop postponing joy. We stop arguing over the small things. We begin to see what really deserves our energy. When choices appear, we can ask ourselves, if I had 1 year to live, would this still matter? Often, the noise of daily life fades under that question. What remains are the essentials: love, peace, connection, creativity. This is not about rushing through life, but about living intentionally. A calm urgency replaces the frantic chase, the kind of urgency that says, be here now, this moment will not come again. The Buddha once said, better to live one day seeing the truth of change than 100 years in blindness. To see impermanence clearly is to wake up, not to lose hope, but to find it in a deeper place, the place where peace isn't built on control, but on acceptance. So why fear change, when change is what allows everything to exist? Flowers bloom because they will fade. The stars shine because night falls. Life is temporary, yes, but that's what makes it luminous. We don't have to be ruled by fear or worry. Worry is not destiny. It's a habit, one we can slowly unlearn by turning our attention toward the present moment. Life isn't asking us to hold on forever. It's asking us to be here now. When we live this way, something shifts inside. The noise quiets, gratitude grows, and beneath all the movement, we find something still, a calm awareness that nothing can take away. Impermanence isn't the enemy of peace, it is the path to peace. Because when we finally learn to let go, we realize we were never losing anything. We were only learning how to love more freely, more fully, and more truly than before.